I wanted to see if a simple homemade solution costing pennies could actually outperform the expensive stuff on the shelf. So I launched a 7-day experiment to save my garden without using harsh chemicals. The recipe I decided to test is one that I have seen floating around the gardening community for years, but I had never rigorously documented the results day by day. The theory is that soft-bodied insects like aphids, mites, and whiteflies breathe through pores in their skin, and a specific combination of vegetable oil and soap can coat their bodies and effectively suffocate them without harming the plant. For this experiment, I mixed 1 tablespoon of pure Castile soap with 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil into a gallon of warm water. I chose Castile soap specifically because it is natural and free from the heavy detergents found in dish soap that can strip the natural protective wax off your vegetable leaves. I shook the mixture violently until it turned a milky white color, ensuring the oil was perfectly emulsified so I wouldn't accidentally burn my plants with pockets of pure oil. With my spray bottle loaded and my camera ready, I prepared to declare war on the pests that were threatening my harvest. A quick note on why this specific ratio works so well. The oil is the heavy lifter here. It physically coats the insect and clogs the spiracles. Those are the tiny holes they use to breathe, essentially suffocating them. But oil and water don't mix on their own, right? That is where the soap comes in. It acts as an emulsifier, breaking the oil down into microscopic droplets that can be suspended in the water, allowing you to spray it evenly rather than just shooting pure water followed by a glob of pure oil. It's simple chemistry, but it makes all the difference. Day 1 began with a heavy application of the mixture, and this is where technique really matters in organic gardening. I didn't just mist the tops of the leaves. I got down on my hands and knees and sprayed the undersides of every single leaf where the pests like to hide. I made sure the stems were dripping wet, and the soil surface around the base of the plant was treated as well, just in case any pests fell off and tried to climb back up. It felt satisfying to take action, but I was also incredibly nervous. There is always a risk when you apply a homemade concoction to your garden, especially in the heat of summer. If the mixture is too strong, or if the sun hits the oil on the leaves too intensely, you can end up frying your plants faster than the bugs would have eaten them. To be safe, I did this initial spray late in the evening as the sun was going down, giving the plants all night to absorb the treatment and dry off before the morning heat set in. By day 3, the suspense was starting to build, and the results were a mixed bag that honestly made me question if this was going to work at all. When I went out to inspect the kale, the population of aphids had definitely decreased, but they weren't gone entirely. I saw patches of dead insects that had turned brown and dried up, which was a good sign that the soap and oil mechanism was working as intended. However, on the pepper plants, the spider mites seemed much more resilient. I could still see tiny movement along the veins of the leaves, and I worried that I hadn't been aggressive enough with my application. This is the reality of organic gardening that people often forget to mention. It is rarely a one-and-done miracle. It requires persistence and observation. I decided to apply a second round of the spray on day 3, focusing heavily on the areas where the survivors were clustering. I also noticed something else interesting during this second application. The ants were furious. You see, ants often farm aphids for their honeydew, actually protecting them from predators like ladybugs. By washing away the aphids, I was disrupting the ants' food source too. I spent an extra minute spraying the stems leading down to the soil to wash away the scent trails the ants follow, which helps discourage them from bringing new aphids back up the plant. If you see ants marching up your peppers, that is usually your first warning sign that an aphid farm is open for business. I also took the time to gently wipe some of the leaves with a soft cloth to physically remove the dead pests, clearing the way for the new spray to make direct contact with the remaining living ones. Day 5 was the turning point where I finally started to feel like victory was possible. The difference in the overall health of the plants was becoming visually apparent from several feet away. The kale leaves, which had been curling and looking yellowed from the stress of the infestation, were starting to perk up and flatten out. The new growth emerging from the center of the plant was bright green and completely clean, with no sign of new colonies establishing themselves. On the pepper plants, the spider mite activity had dropped to almost zero. What fascinated me most was that the plants didn't show any signs of phytotoxicity or leaf burn, proving that the ratio of soap to oil was safe for these specific vegetables. The soil biology seemed unaffected as well, with no negative impact on the worms or beneficial insects that I could see. This was a massive relief because my biggest fear was that in trying to kill the bad guys, I would accidentally harm the good guys like ladybugs or lacewings. But the targeted nature of the spray seemed to have minimized that collateral damage. Now, we have arrived at day 7, and the transformation is honestly shocking when you look at the footage side by side. The plants that looked like they were on death's door just a week ago are now thriving and pushing out vigorous new growth. The aphid population on the kale has been decimated by at least 95%, and the few stragglers left are easily managed by hand or with a strong blast of plain water. The pepper plants have completely recovered from the mite attack and are even beginning to produce new flower buds, signaling that they have enough energy to focus on fruit production again rather than just survival. This experiment proved to me that we often overcomplicate garden care and underestimate the power of simple, natural ingredients we already have in our kitchens. I spent less than 50 cents on the ingredients for this spray, compared to the $15 or $20 I would have spent at the store, and the results speak for themselves. However, there are some important takeaways from this week-long battle that I need to share with you so you can replicate this success without making mistakes. You cannot simply spray once and walk away. Organic pest control is about disrupting the life cycle of the pest, which requires repeated applications every few days until the colony is gone. You also need to be mindful of the weather, as I learned that spraying during the heat of the day would have disastrous consequences for the leaves. One final, critical warning: never, ever spray this mixture if you see bees or ladybugs actively foraging on the plant. Even though this is organic, soft-bodied beneficial insects can be smothered by the oil, just like the pests can. I always do a shake test, gently tapping the plant to startle any flying good guys away, before I pull the trigger. We want to be snipers targeting the pests, not a wrecking ball destroying the whole ecosystem. But mostly, this week taught me that patience and observation are the two most important tools in a gardener's shed. By catching the issue relatively early and committing to a daily routine of checking and treating the plants, I was able to turn a potential crop failure into a thriving success story without introducing a single synthetic toxin into my food supply. If you are currently battling bugs in your garden and feeling overwhelmed, I want you to know that you don't need to resort to harsh chemicals to win the fight. I hope this 7-day journey gives you the confidence to mix up your own batch of organic spray and take back control of your backyard oasis. It is incredibly empowering to know exactly what is going on in your food and to watch your garden heal itself with just a little bit of help from nature. I will definitely be keeping a bottle of this mixture under my sink for the rest of the season, ready to deploy at the first sign of trouble. I would love to hear from you about your own battles in the garden and what natural remedies you have tried in the past. Have you ever used a soap and oil spray? Or do you have a different secret recipe that works wonders for your region? Please leave a comment down below sharing your experiences, because we can all learn so much from each other's successes and failures. If you found this experiment helpful and want to see more real-world tests of organic gardening methods, please hit that like button to let me know. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video, where we might just be testing another garden myth to see if it holds up to the hype. Happy gardening, and I will see you in the next one.